Alright to YouTube, another one of Kip's Clips. So I was watching, I put this up on my channel, a very interesting interview with this Naftali Bennett. He's an Israeli politician. An interesting guy, go and check out some of the things he says and comes across with. So Hard Talk has him on, it's a BBC programme talking about the boycott of Israeli goods and the pressure and the more momentum that it's picking up. Now, I like to try and deconstruct propaganda, and when you understand what you're getting presented here is theatre, because it appears to be that the BBC is giving the Zionists a hard time. I mean, they're actually asking some real questions, but I think not. I mean, they ain't asking some real questions, and I'll show you what I think is a really amazing JEWDI mind trick, and it's to do with the apartheid that's going on in Israel. Now, a lot of people have heard us. I've heard people even make a stronger comment than that and saying it's even worse than apartheid. And when you break it down, it is apartheid. If you take the apartheid that existed in South Africa as the norm for apartheid, the white minority in South Africa didn't want to kill the black Africans. They just wanted them around to be their slaves, second-class citizens, basically. That was apartheid. So they weren't actually committing genocide. Obviously, a lot of black folk would have died by the mistreatment and the unhuman behaviour they would have suffered under, but ultimately they wanted them around to be their slaves. It's different in Israel. Israel do not want the Palestinians there, full stop. If they could get away with nuking that place and bulldozing it to the ground and sweeping it into the sea, which, by the way, a lot, go and look for the quotes, a lot of Israeli politicians have said they would. So what they're doing is they're doing it under the table, bit by bit, turning it into a concentration camp. Now, so Israel is apartheid at best. At worst, it's genocide of the Palestinian people. Apartheid in Israel, if you're a Palestinian in Israel, yes, you get Palestinians in Israel, and you have a car, you need to use different coloured number plates. So that reminds me of Hitler painting the Star of David on the walls when he was going after the Jews in Germany, apparently, or water coolers, water faucets for white and blacks in America, different seats in buses, so on and so forth. It's happening in Israel. It's apartheid state. Now, how do they? When you if you watch this whole thing, you will think that this interviewer is giving this guy a hard time, and he's asking some real questions. This is about this is like the disinfo agent. This is a really good example of how 99% truth, 99% stuff you agree with, and then boom, they'll knock you out a killer blow. And for the untrained mind or eye, this will just, people who just pick up the news and don't analyse it, they watch it. If they watch the news and don't analyse it, this JEWDI mind trick might actually get them. Now, it's to do with apartheid existing in Israel, right? Which in fairness, if anybody's having a genuine interest from interview with anybody from Israel, this question should come up every time, because it's a big question. A lot of questions should get brought up every time, but at least the apartheid state of Israel, who, by the way, was the last ally of apartheid white South Africa. And there was documents that came out in The Guardian back in the 70s, I believe, that Israel agreed to sell nuclear weapons to white apartheid South Africa. They are a supporter. They were the last ally of the white apartheid South Africa. But anyway, that's another tangent. Go and check that out as well. Now, I'm just going to play this and see if you can pick up the JEWDI mind trick and see how See how you just leaves your head spinning, and they don't address any of the questions that everybody's. When you hear the word apartheid, an interview with an Israeli Jew, this is the question you should be asking. You should be asking about Israeli apartheid. Look how it gets all spin, man. And do bear in mind this. The context of this interview was more about the economics and the boycott and stuff. And there was obviously an economic boycott on apartheid South Africa. Before it got broke up as well, there was international pressure applied through boycotts internationally as well. So that's how the apartheid analogy is coming in to this interview, but nobody addresses the real question of, are you an apartheid state? You are an apartheid state by any definition of apartheid. I've rattled on enough, man. Get on with the JEWDI mind tricks.
Two a day. So I understand the desire for peace. I have a desire for peace bigger than theirs. But at the end of the day, we have to face reality. We don't live in La La Land. We live in a real place. We live in a real place. And anyone who thinks of divesting or boycotting is Israel, that is outrageous. We've got apartheid going on in Lebanon, apartheid going on in Syria. In Syria, they butchered 100,000 people. In Iran, you're killed if you protest. In Israel, the only place of freedom, that's what you're going to boycott? Where there's 1.5 million Arabs, Israeli Arabs?
If I may, interesting you introduced the word apartheid. Obviously, it reminds people about South Africa and the sanctions campaign against the apartheid regime in South Africa. These are the words of Yadin Kaufman, who is a senior industrialist with Sadara Ventures, an important Israeli company. It's reminiscent. Yadin Kaufman says, reminiscent of the outcry against South Africa in the 1970s. And we need to learn the lesson of what happened then, because these things start small, but they quickly gather momentum. The reality is, and your business leaders are telling you as Minister of Economy, that Israel cannot afford to be economically isolated.
We're not economically isolated. The fourth quarter of 2013 was the best high-tech quarter in Israel's recorded history. Last week we sold a company for $900 million, Viber. We've got the strongest economy, and by the way, that economy is trickling down to the Palestinians as well. So I don't buy all that talk about...
It's not talk. With all due respect, it's not talk. Are you aware that one of Holland, the Netherlands' biggest pension funds, has already backed out of investment in 5 Israeli banks? You're of course aware that the EU has already imposed a ban on grants and loans to institutions that have operations in the West.
That's it. They go back and they start talking about numbers, facts, figures. Apartheid get mentioned, swept under the cover, swept under the rug, and that's what I mean by the left and the two cheeks of the same arsehole. Ultimately, this is theatre. This is looking like a genuine debate. Hard talk, it's called, as if he's like, hey, I'm going to ask you the really hard questions. These are going to put you under so much pressure. Apartheid. Ooh, I'm glad you brought up apartheid. Now let's, while just bamboozling people with bullshit, sweep the whole apartheid thing under the carpet, under the rug. So nobody talks about it, but we have brought it up. But nobody, him, nor the presenter, brings up the fact of apartheid existing in Israel, and that is why people are wanting to bring around the boycott. Do you see the JEWDI mind trick of the whole bloody... Go and watch the whole interview. You'll think, oh, because it's definitely worth a watch. You'll definitely learn some facts and figures about how much of a moron this guy is as well. How he thinks Israel's been the home of Jews for 3,008 years old. Archaeology and the Bible told him so. Woohoo! I mean, the guy, the Bible told him so, so it makes it so. Dearie me, it's the world we live. And then he goes on to just do the old JEWDI mind trick and try to sweep the fact that Israel is an apartheid state at best. At best, it's apartheid. I have a sneaky suspicion they are. I've got a sneaky suspicion that it's genocide. It's more close to genocide than apartheid, but that's just me. I'll leave a link for this video down below if you want to go and watch the full thing. It's definitely worth a watch, man. 25 minutes. Just don't watch the news, analyse the news, and do bear in mind this has got an agenda. Once you know that, you see it. That's the agenda of that. Oh, hard talk. We talked about apartheid. No, you didn't. You said the word apartheid a few times. He spouted out some anti-Lebanese, anti-Hezbollah, anti-Lebanese Syria and Iran propaganda, and then the word apartheid just evaporated. Just evaporated. No, is there apartheid in your state? Well, hold on a sec, let me get out the dictionary and look at the definition here. Well, okay. Is there Palestinian-only buses in Israel? Do you give Palestinians different number plates to drive cars in Israel? Apartheid, you scumbag motherfucking Israeli prick. Leave a link for this down below, you can go and check it out. But there you go, man. Again, broke down, smashed to pieces. The JEWDI mind tricks don't work. I was thinking about the Verve song, The Drugs Don't Work There. I'll leave a link for this down below. Thumbs it up, share it on Facebook, all the links. If you're glad I brought the information to your attention, check out all the links below as well. Good way to keep in touch if my channel gets shut down. It's looking increasingly likely. And leave all your comments below. Check out the radio show as well, Glasgow Underground News Network. You'll get us all there on truthfrequencyradio.com, Sundays at 6 to 8 PM UK time. Alrighty YouTube, catchies.